What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. A very, very tired version of myself. Long day today. Was up early to hit the ship show. Was there last night or Friday night for trade night late. Got up early Saturday morning. That show starts early, 8 a.m. And people are usually already walking around by 7:30. I got over to the show about 7:45. Did about 4 hours in the show. Then a 4-hour drive home. Hadn't prepped anything at all for this video. Really just wanted to lay down in my chair and take about a 2-hour long nap. But as we've been saying lately, the show must go on. So we are recording this, gonna knock this out, and then I'm gonna get a little bit of R&R. I am also rapidly falling behind on videos. I guess that's a good thing to have. I have a local show pickup video that I don't know when you're going to see that. Maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. You might see something a little different out of me. I tried to go all Flipping Steve style with the ship show. So I'm not going to call it vlog style, but I did some footage on the go. I have not edited it together yet. You may or may not see that video. We will see how it looks once I piece everything all together. I figured I would give it a try just for the hell of it and see how it all came out. We have gem rate data that came out this past week as well. I will get to that probably Tuesday. I don't know, sometime next week as well. The news cycle this week, as it has been absolutely wild, kind of kept pushing things off. The SGC PSA collectors bombshell went off late in the week. We had the Topps nonsense at the early part of the week, the golden rumors at the late part of the week. Sheesh, what a absolutely crazy week. Before we fully dive into it, shout out to our channel partner, sponsor of the weekly sports card market update, COMC. They still have that baseball special going on. It ends very, very soon. So if you want to get items in for that, you are running out of time. I know my shipment arrived that I sent them of about 155 cards earlier this week. Those are supposed to be checked in by mid-March, so I will have that inventory up to be able to begin to start selling. They also, just to kind of update you on, we talked about the shipping times last week. They added a new thing. If you scroll down to the bottom of the screen and you click on this service status, they have added a little screen that basically tells you the current state of affairs at COMC. And yes, economy shipping is still very, very far behind. So shout out to them for kind of putting this out there so you'll be able to see, you can then take this information in and judge accordingly. There's all kind of stuff on here. It is not just shipping statuses, though those are on there. Processing statuses are on there. Cash out. The grading services are all listed on here as well. So kind of one-stop shopping if you're kind of curious what's going on in the world of COMC. Right now, everything is green across the board except for economy shipping. So you're either going to be waiting or you're going to need to pay a little bit of a premium to get it back. So if it's something that you need back immediately, bump it up to rushed and get it sent home. And then if you need, the other stuff, but it's not as time sensitive, you can keep it at the cheaper price. I don't ship a ton of cards home, so this doesn't phase me personally too much. I mostly just sell on the platform and then leave the money parked. And then if I see something cool pop up, I have the money sitting over there to just go ahead and grab it. I had hinted last week about I was in negotiation for a rather large card. That negotiation is still ongoing. It has been a trial and tribulation for that card. We will see if we could bring it home. I think we're basically at an impasse, and I just got to figure out if I want to go up to the seller's price because they are clearly not coming down to mine. It's a lot of things the way. Have to figure out what I want to end up doing with that. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the news. It was obviously a very busy week. Let's just kind of recap things really quickly. This may have been one of the, I don't want to call it the busiest week. It almost felt like the national from a news perspective. There was just stuff coming left and right. Nonsense, acquisitions, rumors of acquisitions, the whole 9 yards. It started off at the early part of the week on Monday. I did that spec video on what is going on with these first cards in Topps. And then that blew up on Tuesday when Topps responded with their statement basically saying, oops, this is on the heels of Prism Basketball missing a ton of different autos. A fun one from that, I didn't see that this had happened, but Sports Card Investor on, I think it was on Cards on the Table, showed a clip of a video where NASCAR driver Ty Dillon came in the store, bought a box of Prism Basketball to ripped it there on camera, and it had no autos in it. Oops, that's not exactly a great look. So Panini continues to take L's. Topps continues to take L's. Wild stuff. Absolutely wild stuff. Can these companies please get it together? That being said, I talked about the ship show for a hot second. I took a little Instagram reel, and like I said, you guys may see a little bit more footage from my trip there. You could, like, I get it. The comment section, people are always like, this is the end. This all sucks. Hobby's dying, yada, yada. The Shipshewana show in the middle of nowhere, Indiana, around a bunch of Amish buggies was absolutely insanely packed. I mean, it was crazy in there. Almost too busy. There were some times when you had to kind of like, this is what you're seeing here in this little 5-second clip or whatever is the main room. That right there is the back room. And then there is another back room on the other side of the wall that you cannot see in this video. These main aisles here on this main row are a little tight. Back behind that wall there that you can't see is a whole nother room. That back room and the other back room was a little bit easier to get around in, and the temperature was a little bit better. There was also dealers upstairs as well, and even a couple dealers set up outside. I briefly touch on this in the little on the go video that I recorded, but in case that never sees the light of day, the modern basketball was kind of meh. I didn't really hear a ton of people asking for it. I really didn't see a ton of deals going down for modern basketball. 90s LeBron stuff, like GOAT stuff like that, still seem to be moving pretty good. Football, obviously, you could definitely see the people that are trying to like get into football I heard multiple times, oh yeah, I want to get into X, Y, or Z football player before the national. That is 100% the trend, and a lot of people were jumping aboard on that, or you could see it playing out in real time. Baseball was definitely also pretty hot. I had took a lot of baseball slabs with me and ended up moving about a third of them at trade night. I sold off close to $1,000 in slabs at trade night. And then I picked up a couple baseball cards on Saturday walking around the show, along with some Pokemon boxes and a new card case. I've been in desperate need of a new card case. I go over that stuff in the video that may or may not be seen. But overall, great vibes. I mean, the show, like I said, was absolutely insanely busy. So, I get it. There could be a lot of negative out there. There could be a lot of positive out there. But when you go to shows and kind of get boots on the ground like this, especially at like regional size shows and bigger, you have a different vibe walking out of there about like where the state of things are. And I get it. There's a lot of uncertainty in the general world, but even if things get good, bad, or indifferent in the world at large, people still need an escape. They still want something to get them out of the rut of their normal life, or to kind of break away and not think about, work, the outside environment, whatever. So people will continue to be active in the hobby regardless whether prices go up, go down, all around. It doesn't matter. There'll be certain niches that get affected positively and negatively, and those will constantly shift around. But I feel pretty decent about things coming out of ships, and really macro level in general, it feels like things are a little bit more stable now. This time of year, that could be a little tricky because I feel like coming off the holidays is always kind of strong. January, February, March, you got tax returns, people pen up spending post-Christmas, hype of baseball season, the NFL off season's about to start, so people are kind of prepping for that. we'll see what happens once we move into, late April, May, even June, and into the summer months as people start traveling, vacations, and that sort of things. If we start seeing major price drop offs. But even though, I just mentioned about Ultra Modern NBA being kind of meh at the show, when you look at prices, they're not really dropping a ton. They're not really going up a ton either. They're just kind of floating out there in the ether. So even on a sport like that, where there's not a lot of juice right now before we head into the NBA playoffs, it's not like prices are crashing. Lucas Silver Prism has basically been the same, give or take $100 all year long. Joker's gone up, Joker's gone down. He's back up again right now. You're seeing stuff like that. Donovan Mitchell's been playing really well. His prices went up a little bit. Jalen Brunson, his prices went up a little bit. Late in the season, these guys are seeing bumps. So interesting times out there, but overall, I feel pretty good about things. I would like to do one more bigger show the first half of this year. I am eyeing up most likely Chantilly, but that is still not locked into place yet. I'll kind of see how the month plays out and then make a call there. That shows at the very beginning of April. Philly is next weekend. Nashville is next weekend. So we are definitely back into big show season, coming off the heels of Burbank a few weeks ago. And then we have a Dallas show coming up. We're back in the thick of it now it sounds crazy, but we're only a few months away from the National. It's going to be here before we all know it. Let's go ahead and jump into some charts and graphs. Market Movers, link in the description down below if you want to play around on your own charts and graphs, get a free trial, and get 20% off your rate going forward, depending on what service you sign up with. First up, baseball. As I said, baseball was pretty hot. We are in the early days of spring training, and we are in overreaction theater for sure. Guy hits a home run in spring training, prices jump. I picked out a couple of different guys that have been on the upswing here. The biggest name by far, and one of the cards I was asked about the most, but didn't end up moving it actually, Spencer Jones. His stuff is absolutely juiced right now. I'll go ahead and expand this out a little bit. This is going off of about 3 weeks worth of data, basically since right before spring training started. Jones's White Speckle, that's the card that I actually own, or just Speckle, not White Speckle. The card that I actually own, PSA 10, is up about 20%. His base PSA 10 Prospect Auto, I'm sorry, that's the refractor, is up 74%. His regular base Bowman Auto is up 62%. So massive jumps on Spencer Jones. Yankees prospect, started spring training hot. Recipe for the moon. James Wood had a couple home runs, played pretty good, got a couple hits. His stuff jumped up. His base Bowman Chrome is up about 20%. Chase DeLautner, Cleveland Indians prospect, has started off pretty strong. His stuff's up about 40%. And then CJ Abrams, that's a raw one. Not a lot of graded have transacted, but his stuff has moved up quite a bit. He's been playing pretty well to start spring training. That's his raw, up about 60%. It was funny. I was driving to the show on Friday, I think it was, when I saw this. And I have it's like a $10 card, a CJ Abrams Topps Chrome Refractor base, or non-auto, nothing crazy. It's numbered to $4.99. Topps Chrome update from 2022 that I had sent to COMC, and I think I had it listed for like $10 or $9 or something, and I got an offer for $5, and it's been sitting for like a month. And I fairly quickly, was probably within 5 or 10 minutes, I saw it, and I go, whatever, I'll accept that, fine. And I went to hit it, and it said, problem accepting this offer or something, whatever the verbiage they give you back. And I'm like, that's weird. So when I got to the hotel, I looked it up, and here someone had straight binned it. And I was like, that's weird. I got an offer for a CJ Abrams, and someone binned it before I could even accept the offer, and the window was pretty narrow. And of course, I look at one of the baseball news sites, and it's like, yeah, CJ Abrams today, 2 for 3, looked fantastic, home run, amazing play, this, that, the other thing. So the spring training hype fest is absolutely out of control right now. Buyer beware on these guys, even if you do like them. Like I think Spencer Jones has the potential to be pretty good. I would have moved the card if I would have got the right number on it. for where I was at on it. That was an eight. There was those 2 sales for $800 on that speckle. I had it stickered at 800 at trade night and was willing to take like 700 if someone got there. I told multiple people that, and they're all like, because I think, people in that room are a little bit smarter that are walking around, especially at a trade night. They kind of know like this probably is not the best time to FOMO into a Spencer Jones purchase. I do not have that card listed on eBay. It's not one that I'm necessarily desperate to move because I do kind of like him in the long term, and I don't think has a chance to break camp with the club. Another one that got a little bump up, J-Rod. PSA 10, first Bowman. This is one I was actually poking around trying to find one. I was looking for one all day today to show, and I could not find one. But even prior to that online, this card was sitting at right around about $1,000, just over, and even one sale went way under at $825. And around that 1,000, I was like, if I can get one for 1,000 cash, I kind of want to snag one. I really like Julio Rodriguez. Spoilers, I did end up picking up a Julio auto, but it is not a first Bowman. That's in the pickups video / local card show video that I did that I recorded a week ago and have not had time to post because of all the news. So you'll see that sometime this week. You might even see that after the Shipshewana show video. But he just recently spiked back up again, back up to 1.3K, sitting around that range. The BGS 95s jumped up too. So I don't know if everyone was kind of like of the same mind of like, that's too cheap. Let me swing in and snag one or two of those. So I probably won't get one now before the season. It'll be something I keep an eye on. And maybe if he starts slow or whatever, I'll try to sweep or sneak into one. But I do really like Julio Rodriguez. Let's switch over to basketball a little bit, and actually just kind of Prism in general. We talked about Prism earlier. I was curious to see, for a hot minute, box prices were dipping on Prism basketball. They went right back up. They are right back over $900 again. And I kind of find it interesting that basketball and football are both basically going for 900. So regardless of the sport, you're looking at a cool $900 to throw down for a Prism hobby box, regardless of sport. Both boxes have massive chases in CJ Stroud and Wemby. Wemby stuff has been pretty popular lately. He had that big game the other night with him versus Chet Holmgren. He had the 5x5 was like a week or two ago. He's been absolutely wild. CJ Stroud stuff is obviously cooling a little bit as we move into the offseason. It looks like his silver prism's settling in at around $1,000. The Wemby, I pulled it up because I was kind of curious. Wemby silver prism dipped a little bit, got down to about 1.8-ish, but now is slightly creeping back up again. This is a little bit of a longer run on this, but is now right over 2K as we kind of had that initial supply hit. And then, all that retail stuff. And now we're starting to get the hobby stuff in. But I think his recent play is driving prices back up. And I just I was curious, kind of like checking in on this card, the Wemby Bowman Chrome University, his first Bowman auto has really spiked up. That card in a PSA 10 sitting at about 4.5 to 5K. Someone had one at the show today. They had 4.5 on it, I think. And they had a BGS 9.5 for like 3.7. If you really believe in Wemby, that's kind of an interesting card. I know it's, his Metropolitan 92s or whatever jersey, but it's not a good option for an autograph, for an air quote rookie-ish, rookie adjacent autograph card. That's kind of your best bet. And if you believe in the player, I don't like holding ultra modern guys, especially something that pricey. I don't know. That card's just a little interesting to me just because of the unique natures around it. With the limited supply, no other licensed autos. And even if he gets a licensed auto, once Panini gets the license, or once Fanatics gets the license in a few years, that's still not a rookie auto. And that there's a certain mystique around that. And the more and more, whether it's artificial or real, we don't really know yet, but people do seem to be coming around to the college stuff ever so slightly, especially in football. Not as much in basketball, but maybe the Wemby card's the one that kind of break the mold. So I would love to see that card dip a little bit in the offseason and maybe sneak into like a PSA 9 or something, just to kind of have one, almost as a hedge of just in case he is like the next greatest thing ever. I think what it's really going to come down to Wemby is health. He is literally a stick man running around out there, but every time I watch him play, man, he does some absolutely insane stuff on the basketball court. Football, I don't have anything super specific to dive into on football. I kind of want to keep this one a little bit shorter because I am running out of steam. As I kind of talked about earlier, we are definitely in the prep for the national / off-season news mode. We're about to hit NFL free agency. You're going to see spikes. Some guys are going to get cut or move on that we're not expecting. They are going to change teams, and it's going to be an impact player that bumps up a quarterback or a position player guy. I'll give you an example. Mike Evans, is he going to stay on the Buccaneers or is he going to go elsewhere? If he switches teams and it happens pretty quickly and he goes to a team that was already kind of trendy or whatever, or someone that needs, we really need that breakout wide receiver to boost up our quarterback to try to take the team to the next level. Whether you believe it or not that he can is moot. Just the fact that it happens, we'll probably see spikes on quarterbacks that tandem up with players like that. Another one would be like if there's a lot of running back movement that's probably going to happen. What if the Texans get a sexy running back name like Saquon Barkley or something crazy like that? Do the Giants look to move on from Saquon and the Texans swoop in and snag him or something? And I have no idea if that's even legitimately possible or not, but you get my idea. If the Texans pick up someone like that, because running back's kind of their weak link, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a bump up in Stroud prices. Things like that are what we're going to see happening here over the next couple weeks as we kind of build closer and closer to that NFL draft. The thing that I am fascinated in watching as we move closer and closer to the draft is the college stuff. This is kind of our first real experiment with all this, first kind of time through with all this. How does Caleb Williams' first Bowman autos move? Drake Mays, Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, those guys that go at the top of the draft, if they go to, once again, like a sexy team, if Marvin Harrison gets teamed up with someone interesting, if another team trades up for one of the quarterbacks and they go somewhere unexpected, or even if it just goes the way everyone thinks it's going to go, Justin Fields gets moved, how do the prices respond on the first Bowman autos? Normally, I like to say you're better off to sell before the event. Because what happens is the event happens and then all the inventory gets dumped onto the marketplace. The situation here, and like I said, I'm kind of speculating here. I don't really know. The situation here might be a little bit different because there isn't as much inventory available. If you want a Caleb Williams auto, they're definitely out there, but they're not as abundant as what they would be as if he won the Super Bowl in 5 years and you have years of printing of his cards. Even a full year rookie run, that's a ton of supply that hits the market. And we don't have that yet for these guys. You got first Bowman's, Bowman Universities, and Bowman Sapphire, and a few other little ancillary sets, but that's really only 3 major releases. And I don't know if that's enough supply to go around. I'm going to play with fire. I have that Marvin Harrison Jr. out of 10 card. The only eBay comp on it is like $225. Mine has a couple little surface marks on it, whatever. I didn't even take that to ships with me. I just left it in the case, and I'm going to kind of wait and experiment. And I'll probably post that up maybe a little bit high a couple days before the draft, and then just kind of see what happens. That's a card I wouldn't actually just mind keeping. I'll be quite honest. If someone wants to bid it at some crazy number, if I list it, more power to him. But I just kind of like Marvin Harrison Jr. from his time at Ohio State. I think he is ultra talented. I don't think keeping the out of 10 is a good air quote investment, but it's not always about that all the time. Sometimes it's just fun to own a card of a player that gets you a little bit excited. So interesting times ahead. We'll see how it all plays out. That's all I got for you boys and girls today. I am going to go lay down for a little bit. I will put a movie on, but I probably won't make it past the opening credits. Busy week for content this week. Like I said, I'm already kind of behind on stuff. Videos that you can expect to see. We'll see what happens with the Shipshewana little travel video thing that I pieced together. You might see that. You will see gem rate data, and then I do have a pickups video from some stuff I got in the mail and from my local show last weekend. Like I said, that video was supposed to come out this past week, but when you have like 4 to 5 news videos to post, that's the stuff that gets pushed. So I don't know what the order of operation is going to be. Probably Monday either will be the ships video or gem rate data, probably gem rate data, and then the ships video on Tuesday, and then the pickup video from before the ship show on Wednesday or vice versa. And then if there's any news, it actually happens. So we'll see what happens. That's all I got for you boys and girls. Catch you on the next one. Peace.